room. This is the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
Sophie Cunningham went down hard after a brutal knee collision, and frustration immediately spilled over as fans, including her own family, blasted the officiating for failing to protect players. To many, it felt like yet another chapter in a troubling pattern. Caitlin Clark's dangerous groin shot, J.C. Sheldon's eye poke, Marina Mabry's reckless foul. Every time Indiana faces the Sun, someone seems to leave hurt, and patience is wearing thin. But instead of folding, the Fever responded with grit. Kelsey Mitchell erupted for a career-high 38 points. Odyssey Sims gave a spark off a hardship contract, and Lexie Hull buried a clutch three as Indiana clawed back from a disastrous first half to pull off a stunning 99-93 overtime win. The fight was real, and the resilience undeniable. Now the question is simple. How did this team flip the script so dramatically when it looked lost? If you're riding with Sophie and the Fever, drop a comment below wishing her a speedy recovery. She's earned every ounce of support.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hull three-pointer. Bottom!
Indiana,
7 on the shot clock, 25 seconds in regulation.
they gotta get to the rim.
Charles has to hoist and connects. Wow. The Indiana Fever prove their resiliency.
Fever down! Bow! Head up in the chat. Yeah.
For Indiana, the issues began well before tip-off. The Fever entered this game missing all three of their true point guards. Caitlin Clark still sidelined with a groin injury from mid-July. Sydney Colson out with a torn ACL, and Ari McDonald recovering from a broken foot. That left the team without a natural floor leader and forced coach Stephanie White to overhaul the offense on the fly. Instead of sharpening postseason sets like most contenders at this stage, Indiana had to strip things down, leaning on simplified action so players thrust into ball-handling duties wouldn't be overwhelmed outside their usual roles.
For Phoenix, it was a quick turnaround to figure out, how we're going to play without, Ari and Sid. And now we got to figure out how we're going to play without Soph. And we've got to figure out, who can play in certain roles. What are our substitution patterns going to be? What kind of wrinkles can we throw out there? It doesn't get easier. And I think we come back and have Minnesota twice, right? So it's really good mentally, physically, and emotionally for us. And then it gives us practice time, which we're going to need.
The challenge only intensified once the game tipped off. Midway through the second quarter, Sophie Cunningham went down hard battling under the rim, logging just about 10 minutes before exiting for good. Her shooting and grit had been vital to White's already makeshift rotation, and losing has stripped Indiana of not just depth but also the floor spacing their offense depends on. Suddenly, players unaccustomed to heavy minutes were thrust into expanded roles, while the coaching staff scrambled to juggle energy, matchups, and simple survival. By halftime, the Fever's rotations were paper-thin, and every adjustment felt like plugging holes in a sinking ship.
We got Sophie Cunningham writhing around in pain, definitely hurt, and Sophie's one tough cookie. If Sophie's kicking and screaming like this, no Will Farrell. She's in pain. We even have Connecticut Sun players, look at that, Connecticut Sun players, Connecticut Sun training staff coming up to her as the Fever starts making their way down.
On paper, this looked like a game Indiana had no business winning. But instead of folding, the Fever turned their chaos into fuel, using the adversity as proof that a shorthand roster didn't equal a soft one. It was survival mode, yes, but also a statement of resilience. And just when it seemed they had weathered the woes, the night's toughest moment arrived. Sophie Cunningham's brutal collision not only reshaped the rotation, but also reignited the simmering outrage over how poorly players have been protected by officiating all season.
Every day in our huddle, that's what we say together. And it's just more than words for us. I think when you see things happening, there's no other way. If you spread apart, the season goes down quicker than anything else. And we talk about with the injuries, people are probably expecting us to just fold, just like you said. And that's not us. We come in the locker room and we're motivated. We continue to be motivated every single time we step on that floor. At halftime, we're motivated, chip away. And that's our mindset. And just continue to uplift people. When one person goes down, we say it all the time, the next woman stands up. And that's really just been our motto and been what we've had to do a lot this season, and that's what we're just going to continue to do.
The turning point came in the second quarter when Sophie Cunningham went down in one of the season's most frightening moments. Driving to the rim, Bria Hartley lost her footing and crashed straight into Cunningham's right knee, sending her to the floor in agony. She clutched her leg, screaming, unable to stand as trainers rushed to her side and eventually carried her off. The Fever later confirmed she would undergo an MRI to assess the damage. But what truly set fans off was the fact that no foul was called, a decision that sparked instant outrage in the arena and across social media.
How does she magically lower her shoulder into Sophie Cunningham's legs? Can somebody please explain that to me? Can somebody please explain those physics? Again, don't want to hear it, because this is a dirty play.
Fans erupted the moment Sophie Cunningham hit the floor. Many stood, waving at referees and shouting for a stoppage as she writhed in pain beneath the basket. Play continued as if nothing had happened, and that only fueled the anger in the building and on the Fever bench. Watching a starter carried off without so much as a whistle left teammates fuming and the crowd stunned. Afterward, Coach Stephanie White admitted her gut reaction upon seeing Cunningham in such obvious agony was blunt and unfiltered, pure disbelief that officials hadn't blown the play dead.
Do you have an update on Sophie?
Yeah.
Yeah, MRI tomorrow.
Sorry, just quickly on Sophie. I mean, what's going through your mind when you see her down like that, and you're jogging over there?
I'm like, holy shit. I mean, especially the way that she fell and, how she was holding herself and how much pain she was in. At the time, it's like crap. And then you go down there and you see her and it's like, okay, just want her to calm down and be able to read.
For many fans, Cunningham's injury wasn't seen as just an accident, but as part of a disturbing pattern that keeps surfacing against the Sun. The moment carried the weight of past incidents. J.C. Sheldon's eye poke on Caitlin Clark in June, Marina Mabry's hard foul that knocked Clark to the floor, and Sheldon's knee to Clark's groin on July 15th that has sidelined her for over a month. Each of those plays was widely criticized as reckless, yet stronger disciplinary measures never followed. Against that history, Cunningham's collapse didn't feel like bad luck. It felt like another star left exposed in a pattern the league has yet to confront.
And that's what it's going to take. Okay, that's what it's going to take. We got to play free. We got to play with no pressure. But we fight. Live that resilience every day. And we will accomplish what we want to accomplish. Okay? Come on.
Yeah. Here we go. Together, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Indiana's win over Connecticut was about more than toughness. It was about survival and belief. With Caitlin Clark still sidelined and Sophie Cunningham lost mid-game, the Fever turned to Kelsey Mitchell career-best 38 points, timely play from hardship signing Odyssey Sims, and reliable contributions from Aaliyah Boston and Lexie Hull to keep their season alive. Against one of the league's toughest opponents, they proved their depth and resilience, improving to 19-16 and holding strong in the playoff hunt. Head coach Stephanie White summed it up best. Asterisk, we will never be counted out. Asterisk if you're behind Sophie and the Fever. Drop a speedy recovery wish for her in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update.